remember telling my friends who are still photographers in this town, who are a lot of great people, I'm going to shoot food for a living. And they laughed at me. They thought it was funny. They said, you'll go broke. Guess what? I'm not. They are.
Yeah. Who's laughing now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
You're listening to the Bar and Restaurant Podcast, where hospitality lovers come to listen and learn with expert David Delorenzo. Now here's your host, the DELO.
Hey, it's the DELO here, the host of the Bar and Restaurant Podcast. On today's episode, we have Debby Wolvos. Debby Wolvos is a food photographer, so all relating to hospitality. Debby is in charge of taking all of those amazing pictures of food, sometimes drink, and creates a story out of that. And we talk about Debby's upbringing. We talk about her interesting career and how she got to where she is today, but just the amount of things that she has done in her lifetime, even to get her to this point of being, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best food photographer, definitely in Arizona, where we get to know her and we see a lot of her work. So wanted to make this fun for everybody and, kind of dive in on the details of what food photography is about as a business, as an art, and everything that might create some sort of added value for you, the listener, and just see where it goes from there. So I hope you all enjoy this, and I appreciate you listening. And please, 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 if you are listening to the podcast, if you would be so kind to just give me a 5-star and subscribe. That's all I ask. That would be amazing. I love doing this, and I love knowing that people are listening and that I'm able to give some sort of value to you. So sit back, relax. Here's the DELO and Debby Wolvos, and we're going to talk food photography and a lot of other stuff. Thanks and peace. Hi, Debby. How are you?
hi, David. How are you? I'm good.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you today. Actually, really excited to have you. And we were just talking off camera about the first time that I met you. And I don't remember the very first time I met you, or really how we met, but it has to be through the food world or something like that.
Maybe it was Kim.
I know
Who's your
you
wife?
happen to know my wife too, which
Well, it's a small world, and we both, we cross over because you being the restaurant industry and representing a lot of, involved with a lot of restaurants. And I know that I did a job for one of your clients several.
Well, several,
actually.
for sure. And then you had actually brought Kim and I on board to remember that food company that we worked with?
Freshly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
you were
inside
our
that
models.
house.
You were unbelievable for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think of myself as a model, but that was
great.
That was fun.
You were great. And then I did food photography for Kim for a magazine that she worked for.
Okay.
For a while.
There's the connection.
So
I think
know.
it was like Scottsdale Health or something like that.
Yeah.
And you were doing okay. And we kind of probably knew each other on our own terms. And then we got together and it's like, oh, hey, we know everybody. Well, that's awesome. So I want to get into your story a little bit. And for the listening audience, I want to get to know you and I want them to get to know you. And let's just start from where you're from, Minnesota, correct?
Yeah.
And
you did your homework, interviewer.
I did a little bit of homework. So tell me about growing up in Minnesota and your family. And I know like your first introduction into photography was your Kodak at year 10, correct?
Yeah, I was 10 years old. It was like I had that little Instamatic thing and it was like it had the old flashbulb that actually like exploded. No, I mean, it was really a long time ago. I grew up in a really beautiful area that is now very suburban, but back when I was growing up in the 70s, it was Eden Prairie, Minnesota.
Oh, it just
Eden
sounds,
Prairie.
Yeah.
Rolling hills, and we lived in a big old Tudor house on a hill that overlooked the Minnesota River, and there was a pond. We had like it wasn't a farm, but we had like 25 acres. It was way back when.
Yeah.
And so all of the neighbors were farmers, and so it was very much farm country. So I went to school there, and then I went to the University of Minnesota, and then eventually, we'll get into that. But in terms of growing up in Eden Prairie, I'm the youngest of 6 kids.
6.
And it was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they were great. It was the Waltons. We, hung out. We, we had cats and dogs and horses, and I mean, it was sort of farm-like. But I had to walk quite a ways to make it down to the school bus. I mean, it was pretty cool.
So when you told your kids the story about having to walk through 6 feet of snow to get to that was true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
I don't miss the cold weather. I don't miss the snow. My mom is there, and a number of my brothers and sisters still live there. My mom is really amazing. She's really healthy. She's 92.
Holy cow.
So when I go to Minnesota to see family, she'll pick me up. She'll be on her cell phone. She's driving. I mean, she's unbelievable.
Great.
She's unbelievable. So knock on wood, I hope I follow her, footsteps.
Some good genetics there. Yeah. That's great. Okay. And you went to the University of Minnesota?
I did. And my father owned electronics stores, sort of like, I guess the equivalent might be like, do you remember Radio Shack?
Yeah.
Kind of a smaller, not a Best Buy, but a smaller.
Not a Circuit City, but
a little smaller. And so it kind of makes sense in a way that I'm kind of a child of television and radio and photography, because he was a semi-professional photographer way back when. He had a dark room in our home in the basement, and I grew up helping him and inherited his equipment actually. But, there were stereos and televisions, and it was just, our whole house was filled with electronics. And so, it sort of is interesting that I majored in theater at the university, but then I kind of switched over.
Right.
I became really enamored with the world of television and radio, and that was really where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So, and I went to a vocational school. Everybody said, "What are you doing?" And it was the best thing I ever did. I went to, see if I remember, Hennepin County Vocational and Technical School or whatever, and I majored in television production.
Okay.
And that, I was like 20, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
It was like a 2-year program, and I raced in it, through it in like a year. And I immediately began.
You found your passion.
I did, and I was videotaping for companies and kind of a media producer, and so and then I did still photography as well.
Okay.
So I mean, I just kind of never really ended up doing theater. It's kind of weird. But.
And being the youngest of all the siblings, were you like daddy's little girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I don't think I ever got in trouble. I certainly never got a spanking. I mean, I was, back then they, spanking was the thing. It was like you spank your child, but now they don't. But,
now they, yeah.
But I wasn't spoiled in a bad way, I think.
Yeah.
I used to come home from school, and my brothers and sisters loved taking care of me. I'm so lucky.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But I felt that growing up, I had so much love from my parents and my family. It gave me some kind of huge amount of confidence that I can't even tell you how much that shaped me.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
Yeah.
It gave me the confidence and the courage to go get on TV, even if I didn't have a real 4-year degree in television. I kind of pieced it together. But yeah, a lot of guts and a lot of love, and you can do anything.
That's a cool start. Yeah, I mean, that's a cool start to an amazing career that you're having and that you've had so far. And so, do you remember the first picture you took on that Kodak?
Yeah, I have it.
You do?
I wish I brought it. Oh, I wish I could have had a show and tell. Yeah, it is a really sad photo of. I had to do a presentation for the class.
Of course.
Right? There I am at 10 years old, and they called my name, Debbie, and I went up there and I talked about photography and cameras, and I took a picture of the class, and they're all like sleeping. They're all like looking, and it's really sad.
Oh, that is funny.
As kids, they're all 10, they're like looking at their pencils, and they're not really paying, and I still have it. And I'm going to my 45th reunion, and I'll see a lot of those people, and I'm going to bring that and go, this is how much you paid attention to me.
And with the big light bulb that
did and they were just like, some were paying attention, but that's it. That was the first thing I did.
Oh, that's so cool.
I launched my career.
So got out of college, and then what was your first actual real job?
I worked for a company called Northern States Power Company, the equivalent in Minnesota of like an APS.
Okay.
And I was their media producer. And I went into, interview for that job, and they said, well, you've got the qualifications, you've kind of tested everything. We want to hire you, but our higher ups don't necessarily believe that you are really as experienced in video production as you say you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really sorry to do this, but if you would just to please the bosses up above the chain, would you take out our gear and just go do a quick video, shoot a video, come back to the studio and edit it. We just need, it's sort of a proof of it.
Wow,
I was like,
baptized by fire.
Yeah, no problem. So I got the gear. think it was like, I don't even remember what it was, something ancient and heavy. And I put it on the tripod. And in Minnesota, they call it the land of 10,000 lakes, but there are more than that. So there are lakes everywhere. So I thought, well, I'll do a little piece on like people running and the lakes, and I'll interview people, do man on the street. So I set it all up, and these young guys, they were on roller skates, and they came skating by, and they purposely bashed it over. Just, it shattered everywhere.
Wow.
And I mean, of course, my stomach lurched, and I was mortified. So not only did I not, get the video, it was all broken and nothing worked. I broke it, But the good news is it videotaped them doing it.
Oh my goodness. No kidding.
So I had proof, and I brought it in, and they were like, hey, we got a service contract. We'll fix the gear. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Do it again. So I went out and did it again. I got hired. So that was it. And I had a great boss. I was there for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then around that time, I really wanted to be on camera, and I kept like turning the camera on myself.
How old were you at this time?
Oh gosh, in my 20s.
So you kind of had that itch to be like,
oh yeah, I wanted to be on camera,
be famous,
behind it.
right?
Yeah. And so I kept like doing like these little on camera intros and things, and so I ended up building a reel without kind of realizing it.
Yeah.
And then I went in Minneapolis to the kind of lowest on the totem pole in terms of stations. It wasn't ABC or CBS or NBC. It was like an independent. Channel 9.
Right.
And I knocked on their door, and I said, I want to be a reporter for you. And look, I've got this experience. Here's my reel. And bottom line, they took a chance on me.
Wow.
I don't know why.
I had no idea.
They said, look, if you are terrible and you absolutely suck, we'll give you 3 months. If you're terrible, you're gone. You can't sue us. You can't get any kind of unemployment. Prove yourself. And I did. And I ended up anchoring, and I ended up getting hired by the ABC affiliate. Then I ended up getting an agent. Then I got hired in Boston, and I was making 6 figures in Boston back in the 90s or something. So
you have old footage of that you still kind of look at sometimes?
I've been moving lately. We moved from Scottsdale to Phoenix, and there was my box of like, I really got to transfer that stuff.
VHS cassette. I have a guy that can do that, by the way.
3/4 inch, honey. We're talking way back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, but I have had an amazing career.
Yeah.
And I've reinvented myself many times. And I'm here to say you can do that. I know a lot of people are like, well, I just got out of college, and what if I really don't like accounting? It's like, don't worry about it.
Get your whole life ahead.
Reinvent yourself and do what you love. Do where you're passionate.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know I've gotten to know you through food photography. So before we dig too deep into that, after you got out of the APS / job, and then doing the news anchoring and all that sort of stuff, did you get more heavily just into photography, and you started working for some magazines? Or?
Honestly, I really, back when I was at that, the APS type, company, that was, I had like cabinets of Nikon equipment. I had, I had more tilt and shifts and different lenses. And so I was always shooting. Then when I became a television news reporter in Minneapolis, and then I got an agent and went to Boston and did that as well, and then did it here as well for ABC. All that time, I had my camera with me.
Yeah.
So I would be taking pictures of Paul McCartney in the interview with him, or Brad Pitt, or all of these people that along the way I was very blessed to interview, and presidents. I had my camera. I was always shooting, but it really wasn't to earn a living anymore.
Right.
It was my, and back when slides were the thing, I don't even know when that was.
Yeah.
I used to have slideshow parties at my house. I'd have a big deal set up, and it was like, you couldn't get into the party unless you
brought
your carousel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've kind of started, and now it's so easy. It's so lightweight. It's so digital. It's so cool. But yeah, so I ended up just really kind of enjoying photography is more of a hobby, is more of my passion, but I made no money on it, and it wasn't until I would say 12 years ago, about that, 11, 12 years ago, I just was like, why am I not shooting more? This is, I started shooting a little bit more, and I met with a friend who is in this town. Her name is Ruby Rideout, and she's a exquisite wedding photographer.
Yeah.
She actually specializes in Indian weddings.
Okay.
We had lunch one day 12 years ago, and she said, how's your career going and whatever. And I said, you know what? I really want to get back to photography, photography. She said, well, what's stopping you? You've been doing it all these years. You started out with it.
Right.
And I said, I wouldn't even know what equipment to buy now. So she said, give me something to write on. She took a pen and she put down, I think it was a Canon 7D and a flash, and and she goes, there you go. And I go, well, this is like 10 grand. And she goes, buy it on a credit card and work for me for several months. You'll pay it right off.
No kidding.
So I did.
Wow.
And my first job with Ruby was an Indian wedding, and she was photographing the bride's goings on during the day, and I was to photograph the groom side.
Okay.
Well, these people are amazing, and they have their much tradition. And, I was taking my shoes off, and they were doing different rituals. I had no idea what they were doing. I just kept smiling and doing it. But it was, and she was right. I mean, after 3 months, I paid it off, and I knew that I did not want to photograph brides.
Yeah. You learned that.
And I've always been a foodie before people even invented the term.
So that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So was that before digital or? Before
digital really became.
Yeah. Because you were doing, there was a lot of stuff on film, right? And I started film, then it was digital for sure. Yeah.
And then, and I remember telling my friends who are still photographers in this town, who are a lot of great people, I'm going to shoot food for a living. And they laughed at me. They thought it was funny. They said, you'll go broke. Guess what? I'm not, they are.
Yeah. Who's laughing now, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So,
reading up on a little bit of your bio, it looks like you've also done some photography for Travel and Leisure and Southwest Air and USA Today. Is that?
Yeah, I've been fortunate. David, I have no idea what I'm doing. I just do it. And I think if I have any good quality that, skill that is just kind of innate, it's like PR and marketing. Like I don't even know how to teach it or explain it, but I'm just, it's like you. I'm just,
you're just
out
passionate.
there.
You have a love for what you do. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, my objective was to literally cold call chefs, literally, and publications.
Wow.
My goal was to call 5 a day for a year.
Yeah.
I just kept, no one knew who I was in this town. Nobody.
You were basically starting from scratch.
Yeah.
This was
and I didn't even think that I would fail. I mean, there was no,
right.
I don't know those things. I just, you just go for it.
Yeah.
And, I annoyed a lot of people, and I was everywhere, and I did a lot of work for free, a lot of work for cheap. My first paid job was for a steakhouse on Camelback near the Biltmore, and I'm blanking on it. What would it be? It's an oldie.
Camelback.
Starts with
Biltmore.
a D.
Durant's? No.
Durant's?
Donovan's?
Donovan's.
Yes, Donovan's.
They hired me, and I think they paid me $500. And there wasn't a window in the place.
No, it's dark.
I had
it's like a dungeon in there.
It was torture. And the fun story about it is I thought it was so good. And, and they used it.
Yeah.
But fast forward to about a year ago, so like 10 years later, whatever,
Right.
I get a call from them and they go, we need some updated images, but we looked at your website and then we looked at the stuff you did then, and you can't be the same person. Are you the same person? I'm like, yeah, I've just grown.
Yeah, I was just gotten a little bit better at what I've
We all do.
Yeah, of course. Now, during this transition from, say, TV to just now doing photography, was it hard for you to not be on TV anymore, or had you done enough of that? You were good.
Good question. Well, when you think about it, I had been in the real world of real journalism, like for real. Like there is no opinion, there's no editorializing.
Yeah.
And you have to get your facts checked before it gets, recorded and on the air. And you have 3 or 4 producers above you that are just making sure you don't interject anything. I mean, it was the good old days. It was this guy's side versus this guy's side. And you, the viewer, decide. It was very different than today. And I really enjoyed it. But by the time I was in my mid to late 40s, I was being asked to do stories on Sonoran living, like how to make your butt look good in a pair of jeans. I mean, it wasn't journalism anymore.
You're like, I'm not into it.
It just wasn't. Yeah. I was grateful, but and then they said, well, if you want to do news for us, you can start and you can work weekends for $35,000 a year. And I was like, way been there, done that.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. So, so I just kind of fell out of it. I was done.
Yeah.
Plus, let's be honest, it's a youthful business.
Right.
It's like sports. It's like, if you're a long time person like a Barbara Walters and you've been on the air and you've been on the network, for 20 years, that's fine. But locally, I just wanted somebody younger to take over.
So much of that is even changing just with the news as far as social media goes, where people are going to get that information.
It's unbelievable.
And anybody can be a product of celebrityism, in their own realm. And
isn't it true?
It's crazy.
And back when I was in the media, the media was, you had to get fingerprinted and credentialed, and you had to wait to get your, you had to really get checked out. This was not funny because you were going to be one day interviewing a president and the next, and now people go, oh, I'm a member of the media. I'm like, really? What do you do? I'm a blogger. I'm like, oh my God, really? But that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's cool how all of this has allowed more people to get out different messages.
It's true.
And it's interesting how we all interpret things the way that we interpret them through different mediums.
Well, and it is a good change.
Yeah.
It is a great change.
Sure.
Look at what we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm able to
it's unbelievable.
Broadcast all this.
From your home or your office.
And from anywhere.
Yeah.
So when did you have 2 children?
Good guess. Yep. I do.
And
I have 2 kids. So I met my husband when I was living in Boston. So I was in Minnesota, moved to Boston for my career, was a television reporter there, anchor there. Then 18 years ago, when our daughter was really little, we moved to Phoenix because we both just loved golfing and loved warm weather, and just we were done with.
That's what brought you out here.
Yeah, we really love New England, and it's the history and the culture is amazing, and I miss a lot of that.
Yeah.
I miss the diversity, and but the weather was just killing us. We were just cold. We just wanted warmth. Yeah. So we were just like the Clampets. We just picked up and moved on, got a cement pond and everything.
No kidding.
So we just moved here. We didn't know anybody. And the kids Alex was 4 and Hannah was just a newborn. And my husband had to start his surgical practice here knowing nobody.
Yeah.
And he did great. He did fine. So I was home for a little while, like 3 or 4 years there. Maybe 5 years. I was home with them and loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, it was a good
grateful.
time for you. Yeah.
Grateful to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're out here in Arizona, you're with the kids and you're able to stay home and basically take care of them for a while and then reestablish yourself with a new career doing photography.
I remember thinking at that time, this is the job that I love the most, and it remains the job I love the most. Being a mom is just everything. But I was a little bit like, what do I do now? Had a great career in television, great career in radio, worked on this amazing show in Boston. It's called The Big Mattress. And it was unbelievable with this guy who's very well known. His name is Charles Laquadera. And he was the Howard Stern of Boston. Okay. He and Stern were big competitors or whatever. I still keep in touch with Charles. He's in Hawaii now, retired. And
good for him.
I've gone out and visited. But and so I went from that to just, being home and loving that with my kids and kind of holding down the fort while we got established here. And I was so happy to move to Arizona. I know you're a native Arizonan, but I just, the more time that goes by, the more I love this state.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was reevaluating, do I want to go back into radio? What do I want? But my food thing was percolating. And then I started just shooting.
Just going up there. Yeah. And so Donovan's was your first client.
Yeah. Thank you, Donovan's.
Yeah, you got some money for that. What was there? I mean, you had stated that you were doing cold calling and just walking into places and probably introducing yourself to chefs and
unbelievable.
I mean, what did you have like a booklet that you brought and said like, here's some of my?
I did. I had business cards.
Yeah.
That were pretty cool. They were from Moo, MOO, which is a really cool
website.
Brand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a they make business cards and stuff, but they're really good for photographers because you can upload like 20 different, as many as you want, really,
cool.
different photos. So that you hand your card, you can say, do you want a martini or do you want, and they go, and they start looking at them. And then you kind of spread your cards out and you got pictures of everything. So I did that.
Neat.
And then I had a little book it's probably like just a thin little hardcover book of my work.
Yeah.
I mean, by today's standards, it was terrible, but I would just go in with it.
Yeah.
I can remember going to Lons at the Hermosa Inn.
Okay.
Do you know Lons,
Oh,
right?
I know Lons, yeah.
And I remember thinking, my dream is to someday shoot for them. So I walked up and I was just kind of trembling, and I was just like, my name's Debbie, and someday I just want to work for you. And they said, well, the current owner's brother is a photographer,
course,
and so
right,
it's just not likely. And I kept at him, and then they changed ownership, and now they're my client,
There
and they're
you
one of
go.
my favorites. So, and when I go there, their concierge, there was this wonderful guy. He's like, I remember you that day.
Yeah.
You little green thing coming in and young, and and
That's
now look
great.
at you, so you just build it.
You just build it,
Just
yeah.
do it.
And I can completely respect and understand that, because, even from the aspect of what I'm doing over here, I literally, I had 0 restaurants I was insuring.
How many
and,
now?
Yeah, about a couple hundred,
Yeah.
if not more, and it's
Yeah.
just, it's
I'm
such a
gonna
great
cold call
feeling
you,
to,
honey.
I know. Well, we're going to do some more work together for sure.
You've given me great work. I'm
So,
grateful.
no, thank you. And your work is amazing. So
Thanks.
you're a good photographer overall. What was it about food as opposed to humans, or, artistic landscape, or any of that sort of stuff that really drove you into specializing?
Great question. I have always had a thing way back when I was executive producer of a show that was called Food and Lifestyles, and it was local. I mean, I don't even remember. I don't know if you would, but it was on, I think, channel, I don't know, one of the local affiliates. It was a while back, and it was a food video program. It was a half-hour show.
Okay.
So I produced that thing, and Candy Lesher, who's a local legend in the world of nutrition and chefs, she was the person, and we would go to we would travel to California, we'd go to Carmel, we would cover food, like the ultimate food festivals where the top chefs in the world were there.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh yeah, this is my jam. Like, I would look around, be like in these kitchens, and I really fell in love with chefs.
You did. Okay.
They bring the culture of food to the surface. They bring their heritage.
Mm-hmm.
They bring their heart.
Yeah.
And they work,
Completely agree.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It isn't just, a job. I mean, it's 6 a.m. to midnight, do it
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
And I really valued them and their work ethic and who they were and how they brought, the importance to me. What I started to think about was, we've got to make sure that our children and our children's children don't live in a sea of fast food restaurants and
Chains and
chains,
stuff,
and
yeah.
we need to preserve the culture from various parts of the world. That's what makes us us. That's what makes us American. It's so
that's what you do for a living, is you story tell.
Yes.
You tell the stories of the chefs
Yes.
and the food and how it gets delivered to the chefs, and then how they deliver it to the plate, and capture all that essence.
Yes. And so the biggest percentage of my work is commercial, meaning I am hired by restaurant A, B, or C. Either the restaurant owner will hire me or an agency will hire me. And my job is to spend a day and a half at Oregano's or 3 days, at True Food. And it's just shot after shot. And it's what they want.
Right.
It's not me getting creative and telling stories. I wish, but it isn't that way.
Yeah.
So that's my bread and butter. That's where I really make a good income.
Okay.
The rest is the stuff that I love even more, which is going over to the Four Seasons and going into the kitchen and photographing the steam and the cutting and the people and the hotness and all of that, and getting the chefs, doing chef portraits and learning about the culture of these chefs, and then photographing their food and piecing it together. So that's what then translates into the editorial work that I do.
Awesome.
So that's a whole other area that I have had to really try to get into, because I don't have an agent.
Yeah.
And I can't really call up my competitors and go, how do you do it? I just figure it out.
Yeah.
And I have some consultant people that I go to who say, okay, where do you really want to get into? Oh, I want to get into Garden and Gun magazine, or I want to get into that or whatever. And they help me. But I'm a firm believer to my core in what you think about, you bring about.
Yes.
You can have a wonderful life or a miserable life. You can have the career of your dreams if you dream it. And I know it sounds so simple and it sounds so new age and it sounds so like The Secret, but Kim, your wife and I, we're on the same page there. You
Yeah.
can flip and grow a third arm if you want to. If you believe it, you can do it. I mean, I am proof. I am proof of it.
Yeah. And
From nowhere to Food Network magazine to, and it just keeps happening. But you shouldn't be surprised. You just should be grateful.
right.
Because,
And
10
not
years
scared.
ago, not scared.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was like, I want to work for Phoenix Magazine and Phoenix Home and Garden. And I'm looking at my stuff in the issues.
It's all
now.
there.
I'm
right.
so proud.
Well,
It's
you
just-
threw that
I'm so
intention out
proud.
there. You threw that energy and it's come back and you've accepted it, which a lot of times people will, they'll fear the success that they're coming onto because once they get it, it's like, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
What do I do with it?
Yeah.
Or how do I maintain this?
Yeah.
And that's,
I mean, it's a journey, there are ups and downs. But if I could at the end of my life, at the end of the day, if I could be valued for anything, more than my photography, it's telling people you got to dream bigger.
right.
And when I see these chefs, I was photographing Chef Zachary from The Mission a couple of weeks ago, and there he was, and he was, and these chefs, they hand you their food. And
Right.
It's like giving a piece of their heart, and it's so beautiful on the plate, and his food was so out there good, and I was like, where do you want to go? And he was like, what? And I said,
Yeah.
you're keeping your head down in the kitchen, but where do you want to go? What do you want to own? What do you, and he was like, well, I do have some big dreams. I'm like, go now, go. You got the talent. You got it all. He's like, really? I'm like, yes. So whatever you want to do, go do it.
Go do it. Yeah.
I'm proof.
For sure.
I'm proof. I don't have
you're still
I don't have
rocking
any
it.
degrees in any of this. I just go do it.
So had you always been a foodie? Are you a foodie?
Yes.
You
Oh,
love
yeah.
food. So when
Yeah.
you go do photography at these places, like,
I'm in awe.
and,
I'm in awe.
and do you just eat?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, I've got like the kind of, I got my mom's genes. And
Right.
so, but I can definitely put on weight, and that's for sure. But I
Yeah.
have to, and I'm hyper, so that helps that I'm just like, I have a lot of energy. I work out.
Well, I have to assume you do workouts, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
bike and run at something.
Yep. Yeah. No, I just belong to a health club. I do that.
Cool.
And I hike mountains and, it's varied, but lately I've been it's kind of lame. I haven't I've been moving some boxes, but chefs are so cool. Like I'll be shooting all day and all day long, they'll be feeding me. Right.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I'll be like, thank you. Thank you for your hospitality, for your beautiful food, for your stories, for your background. And then they'll look at me and they'll go, are you hungry, hon? Do you want something else? Can I feed you? And I just melt.
They just
I
give
just
you
lose.
love.
I love these people so much.
Yeah.
So it isn't so much the food that I love, it's what they bring to the table.
And right. And the amount of love that they pour into it, and then they're offering that to you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, think about like our new Southwestern James Beard Award winner, which
Yes.
has been a while since we've had a winner. And
It's amazing.
Chef, Charlene Badman from F&B.
Yeah.
Her story is, she just dreamed it too. She didn't, she had a tough beginning.
Yeah.
And she isn't even, quote, officially a chef. Who cares? But look at what she's done. Look at what she did.
It's just a great story all around.
And food is just beyond it.
For chefs, for women, for Arizona, for
gosh.
everything. It's just amazing.
Women chefs in this state and around the country and around the world are really growing and gaining recognition. And it's really fun to see
It is.
that, the world of professional kitchens for many years has been very dominated by men. And women traditionally, when they would want to be a chef, they would be a pastry chef.
Right.
Because for some reason that would be, you can just be a pastry
you
chef.
just,
Now they're cranking.
You go over there in the pastry
Yes,
area.
you go in the pastry and do your delicate pastry work.
What a bunch of bullshit.
Yes, yeah.
Seriously.
So it's really cool. I mean, and I think about Chef Samantha over at the Four Seasons, who's just at Talavera, who took over from a long established, 12-year chef, Mel Messinas, who's another amazing chef, but she's just rocking it. They're just killing it. It's great.
So when these restaurants come and hire you, and you had mentioned earlier, they basically put these dishes together. You come, take photographs for. What's the business purpose for the restaurants to do this sort of thing? Is it obviously they want to display pictures of their food so people can see what it is? And I mean, is there is there like a monetary value for these restaurants?
Is it per plate?
Yeah,
No.
right.
So I have a day rate that I charge. Actually, I charge $2,600 a day. And people say, oh, that's pretty good if you're working 5 days a week. But that's not how it works. Like next week, I'm working a day and a half for oregano. So I'll make some decent money then.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week, I'll work for local publications that pay me $125 a pop.
Right.
But that's my PR.
Yeah.
So if I'm going out to all these new restaurants to shoot, and then I would say, I just give them my card and you need some food, shot, and I'd say 80% of the time it's a new job.
It's not as simple as you just going out and taking a bunch of pictures.
Right.
You have a lot of back work that you have to do.
So, it depends on whether, it depends on what their need is. But generally, they're looking for really high quality photographs. So, the day, and it's coming, and it's probably here, but the day that really high quality photography can be taken with your phones, I may be switching careers, but what they really need is the highest quality, the highest resolution possible, so that they can do billboards, or they can do menus, or they can do when magazines contact these restaurants and say, well, we want to do an article on you. What do you have for photos for the magazine? So they use them for publication. They use them for marketing. And now more and more, I would say in the last year especially, I'm being hired now specifically for social media photos.
I was just going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lesser gig. It pays less, but I charge more and say, look, if you want social media photos, I'm here anyway. My equipment's going to shoot the top of the line stuff anyway. Yeah. I'm worth a little more because we'll get all those cool, shots of people's hands reaching in, all that. But I can crank out a few more, and I can give it to you in high res and in low res.
Well, and you can also crank out some of the photos of the restaurant and the chef's cooking and all that sort of stuff, and then give them a folder of all that to utilize on social media.
Yeah. So they're all, I would say most of the time for these bigger commercial shoots, they really have a very specific, it's very laid out. It's very storyboarded. They give me, a series of photos from other places they found on the internet that show, this is the dark and moody look we're going for, or this is the light and bright look we're going for. So I have an idea, so that before the shoot I can say, okay, well, I'm going to bring the black background, and I'm going to bring some fabrics, and we're going to bring, the kind of gear that will kind of create mood, or we're going to shoot in covered, daylight, and we're going to have a lot of big white bounce cards and make things, so they dictate. Sometimes they don't know what they need. Right. I just go there and do a test shot and look around and figure it out and go, okay, and send it a little sample. And I say, this is what it's looking like. This is what your branding really looks like. This is the background of your restaurant. Yeah. So they go, okay. So they're usually pretty happy.
So you're very similar to me, to where, you do photography. I do. Basically what I call it is protection. I don't like to call it insurance because, again, people just start to, take a snooze, and it's like, what? Okay. So when you look into it and you look at, like, you'd named your price, and I mean, it's such a minimal investment for the amount of time and the amount of quality that they will get out of everything that you've put together for them.
Should we raise my rates? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's raise them now.
At least 3.
Let's do it to 3. and that's the thing, is and especially in the hospitality industry, where, owning 12 restaurants in the past myself and being a part of that, and seeing the bottom line numbers are very minimal. They're very sparse. Yeah. And it's like, a lot of these times these guys are going, where do we spend money on? Do we buy the social media person? Do we buy the, the photography that is, cleaner and clearer and being able to be utilized everywhere? Or, we just do it ourselves. And, and fortunately for me, they can't just go write insurance for themselves, but they can certainly cut a lot of things out that, God forbid, there's a fire or somebody, ends up getting drunk and drives off.
Right.
That
I get it. Yep.
So when you're talking with restaurants, or you see like the new ones that are opening, and you're a go-getter like I am. I mean, we're pretty well established in our careers and built there. So there's probably not a time where you're not always like, your wheels are not always turning and going, I'm going to go after these guys because they're new and they're opening.
Yes. I want them. I want that job. I want that
want to
client.
win. Yeah, exactly.
I want to win. And I really, keep going. You have a point to make.
So my question is, when you're going after these newer, clients that may not understand or see the value as of yet, what is your pitch to them?
Ha! You know what it is? You'll laugh. It's old as the hills, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So somebody else can say to this client, potential client, I can shoot that stuff, and I can do it for $300-$400, and they can. They will never get the quality.
Yeah.
I just know it. It's innate. It's like I do crazy things and stand on ladders and
the lighting. And
I
the
just
atmosphere.
know. It's just with any skill, and many of them will say, no, we just can't afford that. And I'll say, well, wait. Let's look at what you need the most. What do you need the most? You don't need, and most restaurants don't need everything photographed. They're like,
right.
We want it all. Can you shoot for a day and shoot 72 dishes? No.
Yeah.
I can. But it would be like, next. It would look like crap.
Well,
so
how many menus have you shot where they've actually put a picture of the food on the menu?
Well,
does that even happen anymore?
Yeah. And those are very rare.
Yeah.
But like one of my clients is Found. Found. They're a really cool boutique hotel in Phoenix, and they have a restaurant that's called Match Cuisine and Cocktails.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Okay,
yeah.
And so when people stay there, they have an iPad in their room, and they can go, room service, and they can just go, ooh, there's the pancakes, ooh. And so, but their menu changes several times a year, so I get to go back and shoot. I'm going back there next month. So,
excellent.
But they need everything, pretty much. And we have a system, and I say to them, okay, I can do all that in a day and a half, but I will need 2 assistants. I'll need somebody cleaning the plate off, somebody styling, plate puts, so it's a very, and we're not kind of setting it up from scratch and adding different things. We're shooting the plate and moving on to the next. And we're on like 12 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful and they're tightly shot and they're what they need. But for the most part, so I was shooting, where was I? Baja Fresh, shooting for them last week. And they were like, wow, we're doing this animated movie thing. We're doing this animation and we need you to shoot all this different stuff. And I was like, I can do that. And then can you make space for where we're going to put writing, and I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, but wait, look at this shot. And I take it and they're like, oh, that's good. And I go, how about this? And so I like doing extra. I like making them happy. And so I think other photographers are like, they've said to me, you mean you give them 5 or 6 different options of one dish? I'm like, yes, it's digital.
Yeah.
So it's a little more editing, but I give as much as I can. I give them hundreds of images.
Yeah.
And because they're spending a huge amount for them. We were just talking about that. That's their budget for 2 years or something.
Right.
And so give them a lot, and then I'll make little squares for them. So
give
they
them
have
something
Instagram,
that they can utilize. Yeah. No, that's great.
If I'm there, we're doing the job, give them more.
And that's definitely changed over the years, is now that you have Instagram and Facebook and all these places where they want to utilize images and they don't necessarily want to utilize something off of their camera phone, although, getting better. But back in the past, you didn't really have that sort of area that you had to get into.
Yeah. So now I'm just sliding into it.
Kind of just sliding. Yeah.
Well, and I've worked really hard on my Instagram following.
Yeah.
Not as much on Facebook, because Facebook is more family and friends and that kind of thing. But Instagram is important for me. But I get a lot of these requests through Instagram that say things like, would you be interested in photographing our liquor brand? We'll send you 10 bottles, and then you've got to shoot the bottles in your home, somewhere in your studio. And then you need to get some models and then photograph them. And, and then we need, and it's this lot, and it's like, and we'll pay you $300. And I go,
no, I'm good.
Nope.
Right.
So I am not in any way an influencer. I don't have time, and I don't make the money that way.
Yeah.
But you can make some pretty darn good money. that's not my direction.
No.
It's not, I post on Instagram to just say, wow, look who these amazing people are. Look at the chef.
You're sharing your clients with other people to get to know them. And when they see these amazing pictures of food and they're like, wow, that dish looks good. I need to go over to, Joe's whatever taco stand and get some of that.
Yeah.
So do you do a lot of, my assumption is yes, you do a lot of photography for, mixologists and cocktails and stuff
Not
like
as
that?
much. There's, the liquor companies have lots of good money to spend.
Yeah.
but they're more interested in what they're more interested in, like getting the really glossy, beautiful, strobe lit, big studio shots of their bottles, and then they've got it. They've got it. Or if they have a special promotion or some special thing that a client wants. But I do not work as much. I work a lot for tequila companies, which I like. But really 95% of what I shoot is food. But if I'm going to lawns and photographing 10 dishes, we're working with the mixologist. They're bringing in the beautiful cocktails. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm like, let's shoot 10 great cocktails. Come on, bring them on, and we'll shoot them.
Yeah.
So, but usually it's like the standard request is like 15 dishes and 5 cocktails and a chef portrait. That's kind of like, and I'll be like, yeah. And I don't itemize and charge people mileage, and it's just a fee.
Right.
It's just a rate.
Just come out and you're going to get this and then some.
Yeah.
How about food festivals? Do you enjoy shooting those? Do you get hired to do a lot of those?
Yes, I don't get hired to do them as much because I turn them down more. And that's just because I'm going to be 63 and it's hot and it's...
What?
Oh, stop.
You look like you're 20.
Oh, bless your heart. I feel it. but those are more grueling because if you think about it, would you rather be in a situation where you're shooting 10 or 15 dishes or cocktails or you're in a nice restaurant, or would you rather be pounding the pavement in the heat with a lot of gear, shooting, chef after chef and it's hot and then you got to go back and you have to edit. It's like 2 days of editing.
Yeah.
So I'm doing less of that. But paid, but I attend all of them and I will shoot for a magazine and just, give them 30 photos.
Yeah.
But it gives me an opportunity to hand out those moo cards and check out, say hi to everybody and hug people and
just go up to each of the
network
booths, try a little sandwich, do your thing.
Yeah. I used to do that back when I was starting. I was like, I really want to do these food festivals. And then I did them all. I was grateful. But the money is just, I lose money.
Yeah.
I lose money.
Well, look, I insure festivals and they are not, how do I say, cost efficient for us. I mean, the festivals they don't know how well they're going to do or not do.
Right.
And so, all those upfront expenses are huge expenses.
Yeah.
And if they do great, they do great. But, it's just one of those things. So I'm right there with
understand.
you. Those are really tough.
But they're valuable and I love it. And I love that we do these great festivals and we do some really, really great ones. And I look forward to them all.
Oh, Arizona's got some of the best festivals
I just
out
love
here.
them. Man. And I've changed my tune in the last maybe 2 years. And it might be because I've been able to make a better living.
Yeah.
So you can be more picky. But in the last few years, I am just backing off on, well, for example, I turned down, I've been shooting the James Beard Foundation's Taste America event every fall for 10 years. I've been shooting the Nirvana event at the Sanctuary. I mean, these are some
great events. Yeah.
But I lose so much money. I just, and at the end of the day, I'm so exhausted by like day 4 that you could knock me over with a feather. I'm so tired that I'm weepy. Yeah. Like, I'll be like, oh, this is the great. It's just like, I shouldn't be there. So now, like this past year, I've turned them down. They're like, what? And it has nothing to do with them. It's just, I'd rather go.
You'd rather go and
time.
partake and have some fun. Yeah. And you probably bring your camera wherever you go.
Oh, it's always
like attached to you.
Yeah, I'm like this from carrying it.
So talk a little bit about, so talking about equipment, what's some of the new and upcoming equipment that you get to use? And
I'm going to disappoint you. Oh, I'll tell you something. I am kind of old school. I am using much of the equipment that I bought 10, 12 years ago, with the exception of purchasing some good, similar to what's in our room right now. Some good LED lights. But I'm a firm believer in, I use strobe lights quite a bit, but they're the same stupid 2-3 strobes I've had for years. They just keep working.
Yeah.
And I'll use them to photograph, chefs or a restaurant.
Right.
But I love to use continuous lighting for photography of food.
Okay.
Meaning you screw the light bulb in, it goes on and it stays on. There's no flash. There's,
Okay.
Because the bulbs are, different kind of color temperatures, and the bulbs I use are daylight. And as I think these probably are calibrated, but I love using daylight bulbs.
Yeah.
And they're just, you screw them in, they're huge, they're like $80 a pop or something.
Right.
And for me, we photographers always chase the light. So for me, it's about finding a window, finding the light, going to it doesn't matter what is, around in the restaurant. I can move things into the best tables, but it's the light. I'm either outside, unless it's over 95. I've kind of gotten lazy and I hate shooting outside.
Right.
But I'm outside whenever possible. And I'm looking for that window.
Yeah.
And then I add light above the window, usually, next to the window, and bring as much light as I can in. And then I put a light behind, because in photography of food, backlight or lighting from behind is everything.
Okay.
Everything. Like if I was shooting something right now with our existing light, there's a nice light right behind you, David.
Yeah.
I'd be shooting right into the light. People are like, no, you can't do that. Oh, yeah, it works great. It gives shine.
Yeah.
That's the ticket. That's the trick. So I just use these continuous bulbs. I plug them into the thing, and there I go. I do use a really great technology that's really saved me. So when we're on a big commercial shoot for a couple days, multiple days,
right.
I hire a digital tech. And the digital tech is somebody that comes in with a big cart and a big computer, and we tether it with a cord to my camera, and the clients are looking at this big computer and they're editing while we go. Like, oh, that's a great shot. Let's zoom in. I mean, so by the end of the shoot, it's edited. It's done.
It's done.
So that's what I rely on.
Yeah.
But for my everyday shoots, whether it's, a one-day shoot by myself or whatever the deal is, there's a company locally called Tether Tools.
Okay.
They're in Tempe. Actually, they're not. They're kind of on the border. They're in Phoenix, and I just lucked out. I can't believe they're even local. They produce a lot of really good equipment for people who are still photographers and video photographers. And one of their products is called Case Air, Caseair, and it's a little trigger, and you just stick it on that little hot shoe of your camera.
Yeah.
And it creates its own Wi-Fi. And then you have an iPad, and you can take that iPad into 3 rooms down.
Yeah.
So the client's just holding an iPad, and I'm shooting, and it's communicating and
all those pictures
popping up.
That's really cool.
And it creates a JPEG and a CR2. So the CR2 is the one that's got a lot of information on it. That's the one we want to edit on and give to them.
Okay.
But the JPEG is kind of a low-res version, and that's the one they get to look at.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take long to load. It's brilliant, and I use it all the time.
And it just helps probably with the time and cost efficiency. And
I now don't even own a laptop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I
Wow.
use. It's just great.
That's great.
So there's no tethering, there's no cords. So that's kind of my favorite local, my new technology.
Yeah.
But I just continue to upgrade my cameras. My lenses don't break. They get destroyed from my hand focusing.
Using them.
And there's so much food.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite lenses, like, it's just, they don't even make that replacement.
Right.
That rubber replacement. I just have to buy a new lens.
You just have to buy a new lens.
So I just buy three lenses a year. They're so coated with food. And it's not that I'm just dripping in food, but you just, my glasses, everything, it gets dirty. You're working with food, and you're shooting, and you're wiping your hands.
Well,
I'm covered in food at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it's not pretty.
You know what works for you, and you keep utilizing that and doing that, and that's really cool. Do you eat out a lot?
Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
So not just when you're working, but like you take the family and you love going and check, and you go to probably a lot of your clients as well. And
very much so. My husband and I just are we love to cook, and we love to be home and cook.
Yeah.
But we also are like, sushi, gotta have it. Or, have you, do you know about, the latest, Tom, I'm saying to my husband, there's a really good new restaurant by Chef Dom called, Hush. And it's,
I was just going to say Hush.
It's on Scottsdale and, Thunderbird and let's go. And, so a lot of times I've been there for one little photo shoot and I fall in love and then we go.
That's great.
But the thing that I'm embarrassed about, honestly and sincerely, is they bend over backwards when they see me.
Yeah.
So I feel like a celebrity, and I don't even want to be. But I'll go have dinner, and then all of a sudden, food starts coming out, and the bill's paid. And I know that that's just unbelievably. But I always feel kind of like no, or you don't need to do that. But they can't help it. They bring out desserts to me, and they come out, and we had dinner to celebrate my husband's birthday, and we were at Talavera. It was us and another couple, and it was a lot of champagne and a lot of wine, and a lot of food, and it was just like, no, we got it. And the
Oh, my
chefs are
goodness.
coming out presenting, and I was just,
Well, it's a tribute to you and what you've done for,
oh
the
my gosh, it gives me
Arizona
goosebumps.
and
Oh.
just, yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
I love them all. I love
Yeah.
them. I love these chefs so much.
I know you do. I can feel it. I can feel it in your
Yes,
presence.
yes.
So I got a quick couple of
Okay.
rapid fire
Okay.
questions for you.
Okay,
All right.
I'm ready.
And I'm gonna see what you think of this. Pictures of food or people?
I can't. Don't make me decide. 50-50.
You
Um,
can do 50-50. There's
okay,
no
50-50.
right or wrong answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
50-50.
Brunch or happy hour?
Happy hour.
Gardening or camping?
Camping. This is fun.
Snow or sunshine?
Sunshine.
Yeah, I figured
No,
since you
yeah,
moved from
yeah,
snow.
yeah.
Star Wars or The Notebook?
Star Wars.
Oh, yes. Right answer.
I just had to admit it.
And then sand or the city?
Sand.
Yeah.
I cry when I see the ocean.
Do you?
Every time. You know, you drive and you get to the ocean, and I cry.
It's
I
just magical. It's just
it just is.
that ever-essence of just.
Our surroundings. There are days, you'll laugh, but I wake up and I go outside and I go, this can't even be real.
Right?
This is Technicolor. Look
Yeah.
how green it is. Look how beautiful.
You're seeing it in a lens. Right.
I just, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a great time with you today. We could probably talk
fun.
another hour. Easy. And it's so good to see you. And I'm excited
good
to
to
do
see
some
you.
more work with you and help each other out. Where can the listening and the viewing audience find you?
My Instagram is Debby Wolvos, DEBBY WOLVOS. Same with, all social media. And my website is DW Photography, my initials.
Mhm.
And it's dw-photography.net.
Perfect.
So, I am loving this. And I just want to thank, this community.
Yeah.
Really from the bottom of my heart for really opening up their doors and their hearts and just saying,
Yeah.
they let me in.
No, it's really cool.
Really cool.
And you're
Yeah.
going to keep doing this for a while, I would assume.
I have totally found my thing. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even believe that I love this more than I loved TV and radio.
Yeah.
Didn't believe it. Didn't think it would happen.
You have such a unique and really heartfelt and just it's a great story, and
Thanks.
it's so nice to know you and I get to talk to you and be able to share this with my audience, and you can obviously share with your audience. And
Will
so
do.
yeah, so everybody listening, thank you again. It was awesome to have Debby on here. Please follow the Bar Restaurant Podcast. Give me a 5-star. I'd really appreciate it. You can find us on Bar and Restaurant Insurance on Instagram and on Facebook as well. And, thanks again, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.
Eat local.
Yes.